Good morning. So glad you're having joined us, our Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living here. I'm Reverend Jay Lang. So good to have you with us this morning, wherever you are, in your home, grouped with friends, or wherever you might be. We welcome you right where that is. We want to begin with music just like we always do. And this week it's Bodhi Setchko. So let's welcome Bodhi Setchko.
Good morning, everyone. Great to be here. Spirit, guide my day. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. One more time now, Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart, live your way. Teach me, hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit.
Thank you so much, Bodhi. It's great to have you here this morning.
Great to be in the room with y'all.
That's great. That's great. Bodhi lives kind of not by coastal, but by county. Couple different counties you live in, both Shasta and Marin County. So we're welcoming you when you're here. So thank you. We do have want to just welcome you right where you are, as I mentioned before, because wherever you are, we know God is. And we want to reach out to you in a blessing. And we just all raise our hands wherever we are and bless each other wherever we might be. And we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community. And so it is. And we also like to say our vision and mission statement. So our vision is, we are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. And so it is. Before we begin the regular part of our service, I just want to let you know a few announcements. The first one, that we're so happy that we're able to offer this, and proud of Imelda Gomez for offering our Spanish-speaking services. They're twice a month, and one of those Sundays is this Sunday. So at 12:30, there will be a Spanish-speaking service that's going to be broadcast on Zoom from right here in our sanctuary. So we're so excited about that, to be able to reach out to people who primarily speak Spanish, or that's their home language, and bring these science of mind tools to them. So an exciting adventure and evolution of our ministry here at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We also, another exciting thing is, we are going to open officially in May for in-person services. They will be outside. We're not going to try and squeeze people into this sanctuary, but we're going to be outside in our beautiful courtyard. We did some work yesterday in preparation for that. Over the past week, thank you, Michael Coleman, Ann Davis, Lori Hart, Victor Rodriguez, Monica Smith-Braun, and Mike and Mary Ward. Hopefully I didn't leave any names out, but thank you for the work that's being done. And we're going to continue to do more work. The next big project we need to do is to put up shade cloths. And so this week, if anybody has time, please let me know, or fill out the form on Breeze, so that we can put up these shade cloths, so that while you're here, it will be shaded. We're going to do that this week. So please let me know if you have some time to be able to help me do that. You don't have to get up on ladders. Your support can be needed, can be on the ground work there. And part of the emerging that we know that is happening is Easter itself. Now, this coming Sunday, today's Palm Sunday traditionally, as well as Passover, by the way. And we have this theme of emerging stronger, brighter, and wiser. And so this is the Sunday that this all comes together, these 40 days of spiritual practices. We only have a week more left of those, but you can still do them. You can still be a part of this. But we have been practicing this as we go along, and allowing what's within us, what's revealing itself, to emerge in all of us in different ways, have been contained or held in this pandemic time. And it's time to really reflect on what it is that's being called forth for us to express and emerge in a greater and more conscious way. So an exciting thing. We'll be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about it. Join us next week for Easter. It'll be a great service. We have some wonderful music, just extraordinary music planned for you. So please join us for that. And then we're also seeking to upgrade our website some with videos. And if you are willing to tell us a video about your experience of the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living, what you get out of it, what you enjoy about it, what transformation has happened because of it, then feel free. We invite you to do these 1 to 3 minute videos And you can always redo it if you don't like it, kind of look at it before you submit it. So, and there's a link on our website for that. And then after the service, we like to have these conscious conversations on Zoom. So the link will be available to you to join us. And today we're going to do a tell us about your Palm Sunday or your Passover growing up. What was that like? Did you go to church? Did you spend a time at home? Or what Palm Sunday was like, or what Passover it was like for you growing up? And then we have our usual weekly meditation, both in English and Spanish on Wednesday. And we're also adding right after the English meditation a what if group where we join together and talk about what we want to create and what are the infinite possibilities that are. And so we've decided to name this group a WTI group, which what's in infinite possibility there, WTI group. So, the what if is possible there. And then we also have Course in Miracles and the Body, Mind, and Spirit Recovery Group. We'll have new classes starting in mid-April to May. We just had one finish up. We're still in the middle of one, so we'll let you know about the new classes we have. And then also, if you at any time need a prayer request, there's a prayer request form on our website, or to call the center, or to email us to let us know what that prayer request. Know that we, the practitioners and I, love and find great purpose in prayers. So please invite us to pray for you, to hold for you healing and wholeness, whatever it is you are seeking. With that in mind, now we begin the sacred part of our service with Bodhi. As we begin to seek that which is emerging out of us, let us just take a moment of contemplation to begin by knowing that there is only God. That is all there is in this and every moment. And each of us here and all of you that are listening and everybody in this universe are all connected with a web of consciousness. The nature of spirit itself is oneness. One love, one mind, one soul, one heart. We just allow ourselves to connect with this oneness in this moment. And we know this service today the words and the music. Allow us to reflect on what our gifts are. What is emerging in us as us. That we're able to release anything that stands in the way of being a full expression of the divine in this moment and every moment. So as we continue to reflect on Spirit itself and that divine spark that's within us as us, we imagine that which is seeking to emerge through us. We imagine that when we are around other people, what is the positive effect that you have on other people? What is it that is that gift that you have within you that shows up as compassion or empathy or listening or just being present with people? When you've made a positive impact on people, when you've touched people, what gift is it that you have been using? What unique aspect, expression of the divine have you been activating? I want you just to think about that for a moment as we listen more to a little flute music and just consider what is it are these gifts that Spirit is expressing through you. This gift, the world needs. It needs us to be more present, more compassionate, kind, empathetic. Whatever that gift that you are finding, whether you were able to know it now or it is continually opening up in you, that you are realizing it in the days to come. Know that it is the perfect gift that Spirit seeks through you. So just take a moment to speak it out loud in the room where you are. This gift that you have. I know for me, it's practicing the presence, being present with people. In the room, is there people that wish to speak out their gift here? Anybody want to speak it out loud? Acceptance. Compassion. Steadfastness. Positive vibrations. These are all gifts, and perhaps they resonate with one you have, or perhaps you resonated and realizing that is your gift also. Either way it is, we know the Spirit through you is this expression. And it is these gifts you have that allow you to emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. And we just release this word into the law, knowing that you are already creating this magnificence. And so it is. And now back to Bodhi.
Sitting on a bench one day, I asked the Lord, teach me how to pray. And as I opened up my heart to Him, it came to me, where to begin? Oh, let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. And in those moments when I felt so close, must own the consequence for the path that I chose. Time and time again I reach for the sky, only to remember truth lies inside. Oh, let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. So I keep breathing one breath at a time. My spirit soars and I accept my life. Loving you comes from loving me. And in this balance lies the way to be. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Your love.
Thank you, Bodhi. Thank you so much. Beautiful song. Let me feel the love of Spirit within me. Beautiful. Thank you, Bodhi. Thank you so much. Well, happy Passover. Happy Palm Sunday today. Thank you for being here with us today. It's a beautiful day outside, so I know there's many things you could be doing, but hold off the basketball watching and the gardening for just a little bit longer and hang in with us, because I've got a really important message today. We've been talking this month about opening to infinite possibilities. And the thing about it is, we know, or we can sense, or we assume that there is an infinite amount of possibilities in this universe, that when we're tapped into the oneness of life, of the universe, we can experience these possibilities. However, we also need to begin to do the work to manifest out of that, to choose out of that, to create out of that. And for this, it requires work. It requires commitment to transformation, which is what I'm talking about today. Commitment to transformation. Because we know that we can have this beautiful sense of love within us. We can have strong intentions, but we're not willing to do the work that it takes, including letting go of things that don't serve us anymore, letting go of things that don't match up or align with these intentions, then we won't be able to create the life that we are seeking. So it's intention plus commitment equals transformation. That we need both of these things in order to do it. So we've always heard the phrase, follow your bliss. Well, that's a great idea. And it's true that we can discover our bliss, our joy, our love within us, so we can have an experience of what we want to experience in life. And then the work starts, the commitment to the work starts in order to create that which we are seeking. We know the universe supports us. We know that it responds to our intention, and we still do our work to seek, to move towards that which seeks us. This vision, as we call it. There's a Japanese phrase that says, vision without commitment is a daydream. And a commitment without a vision is a nightmare. We need both the commitment and the intention to create heaven on earth. And this science of mind philosophy that we teach here, that was founded by Ernest Holmes, but so many teachers before him that taught him this ancient wisdom that is taught. What he said, the degree to which we are intentional and committed is the degree to which we manifest what we seek to have. And this is the importance of who and what we are in this way. I know this is similar to almost like driving a car. I've used that metaphor a lot, but I think it's an important thing to think about, that if we're mindful, if we're paying attention, we're less likely to get into an accident, right? Makes sense. When we're distracted and not mindful, we're more likely to get into an accident. And also, the more we practice, the better we are at paying attention to things that are around us. Intersections that are potential problems, or people that change lanes in different times, and we're kind of aware of it, but we don't have to be so conscious that, so vigilant that we're watching everything going on, that we can have a soft focus on life. And so it is with our intentions. We're clear where we want to go, and we're mindful about the things around us. And things can still happen. We can still get into accidents. I'm not saying we control all our conditions, but that which we experience is less painful, less crisis-oriented. There's almost like spirit is that insurance. It provides the awareness, the protection, the aliveness within us that keeps things from being, that we suffer from things. And so we go into this idea that we are this revelation, this channel of spirit through us, as us in this way. When we think about commitment, there's a metaphor that's floated off as in business or self-growth workshops or books about in a bacon and egg breakfast, what's the difference between the chicken and the pig? You can also relate to this to Easter coming up with an egg hunt and the spiral ham that's for dinner. And the answer is the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. The difference between the egg and the bacon you see there. And yet on a spiritual perspective, both are committed. Because yes, the pig is obviously giving a commitment to that meal, but the chicken is in lifelong service. And what I always think about spirituality, that it's not a one and done thing that we do. We don't awaken one day. We don't become aware one day. We're not aware of these tools, and then we can go on about life. We need to continually to do the work, the spiritual work, to continue to reveal a greater truth in our life. I love what the Buddhists talk about. They say after enlightenment or after awakening, or let me say it first, before enlightenment, before awakening, you chop wood and carry water. After you awaken, after enlightenment, guess what you do? You chop wood and carry water. So you still do the work, and yet the work brings more fulfillment to you because you're more mindful, you're more aware of how to create the life you want, that you are seeking. I remember growing up, not from a judgmental point of view, but I remember my Baptist friends who said they had been baptized and they were saved, and yet they went about doing what I would call unchristian behavior, not really following the model of Jesus, that they would bully people or they would be racist. And I didn't really understand that when I was young. I was wondering if they had to go be rebaptized or resaved or something. Now, I didn't understand about forgiveness then, that I understand now, that all faiths have a forgiveness process. And whether you are seeking forgiveness from a God out there or more from our faith, what we talk about is forgiveness within, that we are seeking to realign ourselves when we feel we have made a misstep, when we have missed the aim that we want, that we seek forgiveness from others and to forgive ourselves in a realignment position to right the ship, to realign, to reconnect, to reset our intention, to recommit ourselves to our highest and best. But even when we are the most intentional, sometimes our ship goes afoul, goes sideways. I'm sure most of you have been following this story, this crazy story about this cargo ship that has millions of dollars worth of products, and I don't know, weighs how many billions of tons, that went sideways because of a windstorm, and now it's blocking the Suez Canal. So maybe they weren't being mindful, maybe they weren't paying attention, maybe they'd gone asleep at the wheel. But I tell you, sometimes in my life has gone sideways. Sometimes I really wasn't paying attention, but sometimes I was, and my life still went sideways. And boy, I am blocking up that there are people I've affected by my actions, by my thoughts, by something I said, and I feel terrible. And I try to seek forgiveness. But most important thing, I begin by recommitting myself to Spirit and realigning myself to dig myself out of that sideways position, to refloat myself and get back into alignment. And then I seek to do the work to seek forgiveness and to forgive myself, not to give myself a pass, to go in deeply and find out what it is that created that, whether it was mindfulness or negative thinking or an error in my beliefs that caused that, and let go of that whenever I can, and then get my ship back into gear, back into alignment, and move forward. But slips happen, right? Shifts happen. And we need to allow that to be which it is and seek to right the ship best we can. And I think, in my mind, that's best done when we have support of other people. We have a connection with Spirit and a connection with other people. I talk about Jesus this time of the year. He was we consider him an example, not an exception, but he was a great example. And what he talked about, the new covenant that he talked about, was to love God with all our strength, our heart, our soul, our mind, and to love others. To love our brothers and sisters in all way. And it's that love that we seek to do. And it's in that I think is in community that is the best way to share this love, to be this love, to be this deeper connection with Spirit, to be in spiritual practice together, to seek support from each other. So I'm excited about our center coming back to in-person services, that finally we're getting enough clarity from the pandemic, enough lowering the numbers that allows us to have outdoor services. Because I think this support is so important to me, and I think it's important to you too. In the practical mysticism class that I'm teaching right now, we're talking about Saint Teresa and of Avila. And she was an amazing mystic, and early in her 20s, she was so connected with Spirit that in her meditation, she began to levitate. And the support her sisters offered her was to hold her legs so she wouldn't fly all the way up to the ceiling. Now, I don't know if we need that kind of support. But what's interesting is what she found grounded her, instead of having people to hold her down, but was community. She created different communities where people were in spiritual practice together, where they learned about stillness and silence and a direct revelation of Spirit within them. Now, what's interesting about the Catholic churches is during the 1500s, they didn't seem too upset by stories of her levitating. But when she started establishing communities and talked about self-reliance, that we all could be direct revealers of Spirit, that's when the church became upset. And you could understand when you're seeking to have power over people why you might be upset about that. Because they expected people to come to the churches, to the priests, to have that revelation with Spirit. And I think the beauty about our faith, although it's not the thousands of years old like some faiths are, it's more in the 101 years old this year. Our center has been here. We're celebrating our 50th year and our 60th as a study group. It started as a study group over close to where the 9/11 memorial is. I can point to it. I know that doesn't make sense on the video, but over there where the 9/11 memorial is, when the Brown Street went all the way through, we were right about where that memorial is, between Coles and the 9/11 memorial. And from the beginning of the inception of this faith, we talked about the direct revelation of Spirit. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with indwelling God." Anybody in close contact. And what's amazing about Ernest Holmes is that he is real clear that he didn't come up with these ideas. He synthesized the idea, and they came from this ancient wisdom that the women mystics, most of it was these women mystics, but all the mystics that found this direct revelation of Spirit. Mirabai Starr talked in particular about the female mystics that were so clear on this. And then what's interesting in this history of Women Month is the other spiritual leaders that were so prominent, that were women that continue to believe this, continue to know this, and reveal this and speak about this, to have the courage to speak about it when it was against the teachings of the church. So not only the female mystics, but Emma Curtis Hopkins, who taught Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, who started Unity, who taught Ernest Holmes, who started Centers for Spiritual Living, and other independent religious science and science of mind churches. divine science, independent new thought people. This Emma Curtis Hopkins, what she found out in her teaching, she was working with Mary Baker Eddy, who started Christian Science. And she began to realize Mary Baker Eddy was saying that she was the prophet. She was the only revealer. Mary Baker Eddy even discounted the teachers before her and said it was a unique revelation in her. And suddenly, Emma Curtis Hopkins was realizing the Spirit was speaking through her and began to write her own. And that's when Eddy basically kicked her out of the Christian Science Church, because she was revealing it herself. And then Hopkins went on to teach all these people about the direct revelation of Spirit is available to you, and you can have it right here if you follow these simple things. And they all developed their own systems, and they all taught us, and we are here to reaffirm that we all can have this direct revelation of Spirit, that we do not need to depend on anybody else. And what's beautiful about this is not only did these students of Hopkins go on, but they went on to teach so many other practitioners and ministers and centers that we have developed. Both Unity and Centers for Spiritual Living have grown around worldwide, and women have continued to be an important part of this ministry of practitioners and ministries. One, because there were other churches, there was no space for them to be a spiritual leader, to talk about that which is revealing in them. It was so strong, they needed to write and talk and sing and pray about it. And there was no place, no pulpit for them to open up to. And yet it is our philosophy that was perfect for them, because it spoke about exactly what was revealing in them, whether they were a mystic or a student of this wisdom teaching, somebody who was praying and meditating and recognizing and revealing that truth. And I know I add a lot of my credit to my development with many women spiritual leaders that have been willing. I know that we need to balance the divine masculine and the divine feminine, but it was my recognition in a lot of these female leaders is they were already doing it. I often think of the divine feminine as being the receiver, the revealer, the connector, the integrator, the inclusive aspect of our psyche, and the divine masculine is the action, a commitment, the motivation to get out there and act it. And you can say all of these leaders that develop their own churches, some mega churches, these communities, these ministries, these special focus ministries that happen, there had to be a balance of divine masculine and feminine for them to create through them. And so I honor them this month and all months. Reverend Janet Garvey Stanvik, who for many years was the minister here, and before her, Barbara Thomas that was here. That was both of them, between them, 35 years of ministry out of the 50 years we've been here. And I've now been here 7 years. And so I am inspired by the feminine leadership of this center and all centers that are out there. So I just want to make sure we're clear about that. Now, as we continue to develop this idea about spirituality and that which is opening in us, we know that this commitment, this clarity that happens, is revealed in us, and we don't need to do anything or be anything more than just allowing it to come through us and then having the commitment to carry through the work that we do. So how do we create this idea? How do we emerge brighter, stronger, and wiser? How do we allow this commitment to transform us? I've often used this phrase that's used in New York when people are asked how to get to Carnegie Hall. The The answer is always practice, practice, practice. And that's how we get to transformation. That's what commitment means to us, is practice, practice, practice. And the first practice we want to do is about a commitment, is a commitment to letting go and releasing, so that we can allow a greater expression to be and coming through us as us. So at any given moment, we check in with ourselves. We find out what's going on within us. Are we present? Are we in the moment? Are we connected and aware? And if we're not, what keeps us from being present? To go back to the driving metaphor, if suddenly we find ourselves off course or driving to somewhere we didn't intend, then what's going on? We need to bring back our focus. We need to bring back our presence of mind. Or if we're with someone having a conversation and we're distracted, we just come back to present. We're doing a task, whatever we're doing, we just come back to the moment. And we also ask ourselves, what do we need to release or let go of in order to become present? And what do we need to embrace in order to be present? It's not always something we need to let go of, some kind of negative thinking. Sometimes we need to embrace our wholeness, our divinity, our divine nature, the truth of who we are in that moment in order to be present. And there are times we need to feel something, a grief that comes up, a loss that we've had that comes in waves. And it's okay to take a moment to feel that, to be real, that with a conversation, tell somebody, this is what's up. This is where I am right now. And bring who you are present in that moment, in that conversation with that person. Today, Passover started on Friday night, and today is also Palm Sunday. I think it doesn't always fall on the same days, but I love it when it does. Because in biblical times, the story of Jesus is that he spent 40 days in the wilderness, 40 days of spiritual practice. And during that time, he released that which tempted him. Because for so long, he kept his ministry quiet. When there was a healing, when there was a teaching, he would tell people, keep it quiet for right now. Don't tell too many people. Because he wanted to wait till he was ready to be fully public. And part of what happened during these 40 days of spiritual practices, according to the story in the Bible, he was tempted by the devil. Now, I don't really believe in an external devil. I have many temptations within me. I don't need somebody outside of me to tempt me. I'm aware of my distractions. And for him, his distractions, his very public ministry, was one about personal power. The story goes that this devil tempted him because he was on a fast to turn the rocks into bread so he could eat. And he said no. He took him on a high ledge, according to the story, and said, you could fly if you want to. You have all the spiritual power you want to. And Jesus said, no, it is not my power, but Spirit through me. If Spirit wants me to fly, then that'll be revealed, but it's not about me. And also said, all this land that you can see, you can have all of it if you want to. You can have all the material possessions you want. He said, no, that's not what my ministry is about. So he gave up his personal power. And the reason why is he knew what was next. What was next is he was going to be going into Jerusalem during Passover, because he was there to eat with his family and friends and celebrate the Passover, the rituals of the Jewish community. But his ministry was now very public. And so when he came to the gates of Jerusalem, somebody brought him a donkey, and he rode in on the donkey, and people laid down palm branches before him and were praising his name and adoring him and just lifting us up and saying Hosanna. And yet the whole time people were praising him, he was saying, they're not praising me, they're praising the Spirit in me. I acknowledge myself for being willing to be this channel of Spirit. And they are not praising me, they're praising the Spirit in me. And this is what his 40 days were about, to let go of all that other stuff so he could truly be a channel, a vessel for Spirit. So in any moment we have, like I said, Jesus is this wonderful example of how to be in spiritual practice, how to emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser, because he emerged in this day and knew it was Spirit through him that was this greatness, that a channel for Spirit. And the second thing I want to say today is we are committed. The next commitment is to be this open vessel, to let go and know in consciousness the truth. The Jewish leaders that were there met with Jesus and told him to quiet the crowds because they didn't want to attract attention from the Romans, who would squash that if they thought the Jewish people were rebelling. And the whole thing, Jewish leaders then were not there to transform and help people in spiritual practice. They were there to keep people in control because the Roman government let them be in power, let them be abundantly wealthy as long as they kept control of the Jewish people. The Jewish leaders said, whatever you do, don't, quiet the crowd. But Jesus said, you don't understand. Even if I told them to be quiet, the rocks themselves would begin to shout. The consciousness was so enmeshed in everything, in all life, that it wasn't about the people anymore. It was in the knowingness of all life, in the rocks themselves. And so in this commitment to be an open vessel, we know the truth within us in profound ways. We allow it to reveal in ourselves and be this magnificence. I credit so many women in history that have allowed themselves to be clear about this truth within them, that they were willing to risk their life, what they knew, their institutions, their jobs, their careers. If you think about Harriet Tubman, who really, she didn't start the Underground Railroad, but she connected the pieces. She connected the stars in a constellation and allowed that. There was a local Napa resident, Mary Ellen Pleasant, who in the early 1800s was a slave, and she went on to fund the Underground Railroad. Her grave is at Tuolacay Cemetery here in Napa. That requires courage to go beyond what she could have easily been captured and brought back to slavery, and so could Harriet Tubman. She's Mary Ellen Pleasant is called the mother of civil rights in California. Glennon Doyle, who was a Christian blogger, fell in love with a woman, and she had many conservative Christian followers, but she came out as a lesbian to her followers because she said, you know what? If this had been important to Jesus, he would have said something. I am still a Christian. I think of Beth Moore, just recently, a renowned Bible teacher who left the Southern Baptist Convention because there was no room for women to teach. I think of Alex Brown here locally, who's done the history, who's suggesting that we give places for Black, Indigenous people of color, particularly women of color, places on the platform to speak, and she's using her voice to do that. I'm thinking of Hillary Zunin, who co-founded Napa Can Do. She just recently posthumously won the Excellence in Leadership Award. And the work she did for thousands of people to make a difference here in Napa. So this is this leadership that is a combination of this divine feminine and this divine masculine. And so the third way that I want to talk about this commitment that we do is to live as a prayer. So we commit to letting go of being present. We commit to doing the work, to being an open vessel. And finally, we commit to being as a prayer. that we live in this way, that it is Spirit within us that moves, and we actively are walking. We don't wait to get the absolute clarity about what to do. We have a motivation, we have a presence, we show up, and in that moment, we are the open vessel. Also, that we walk and talk and are this prayer in motion, allowing this emergence to be that which is fully engaging us, fully enlivening us, and being. I brought back this week the words of Amanda Gorman. I know it's been a couple months since she spoke at the inauguration, and I just love the words that she was willing to offer that really made such sense to me, because it was out of her wanting to be an actress, but having the speech impediment, but she turned to the written word, and how beautiful that she was able to bring forth this idea that we are to transform. We need a combination of this intention and commitment. So I'm going to bring back her words to us in this moment.
One thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise.
So we will merge mercy with might with right, and love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright, that we do make a difference. That which we are coming to meditation, we talked about that, the gifts we have to emerge through us, to be this channel, to be this integration of masculine, feminine, and masculine, of divine feminine, divine masculine, and allow it to open up and letting go of what stands in our way, to be a spiritual authority, and allows us to open up. Amanda Gorman, so she came, she had this clarity of truth. And by the way, I found something fun about her. Her grandmother attends a center for spiritual living. So she has a heritage of the spirituality in her that's a combination of progressive Christianity and new thought. And it opens up, you can sense this in her. And I'm going to continue with her words here about rebuilding, reconcile, and recovering.
We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Wow. If we are brave enough to see it, if we're brave enough to be it. That's really what it's about. The commitment to transform is this road about the courage, the braveness to reveal it in us, to see it, and the braveness, the courage to be it. If we're willing to do it, we will emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. Let us go to prayer. I know this truth is within us, and we simply just allow it to come through us as us in this moment, and in many moments to come. I also know that in this oneness, the prayer requests that you have, that we have, that they are being acted upon by the universe. I know there's healing, there's revealing, and there's guidance. And so it is. And now back to Bodhi.
tried so long to do things my way. Gets me in trouble most every day. Now I feel ready to write a new play. If you feel it too, let me hear you say, I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of spirit. Into the arms of spirit. I've been on this ride for oh so many years. All the rough water on this river of tears. Thinking I can do it myself, I can push through the fear. Now when I surrender, I see it's all smoke and mirrors. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. And I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of spirit. Into the arms of spirit. Well, it seems like forever that I've been holding on, hoping for things to get better with each new dawn. Well, the years roll by, it took some time for me to know the only way to get there, I have to let go. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of spirit. Into the arms of spirit. Into the arms of spirit. Into the arms of spirit.
Into the arms of spirit. Beautiful. As we emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. Wonderful. This is the time in our service when we acknowledge those who have contributed. As I mentioned, so many people contributed to the courtyard this week, and volunteer and production team that's in here, and all people who are helping out. I just so appreciate Mary Ward as our center facilitator, as she likes to be called, as she facilitates so many different things. So we appreciate that. And we also appreciate your financial contributions. We ask that if you are a part of this commitment and transformation process, that you consider donating to our center, because it helps us continue to keeps the lights on, as well as furthers the work we do in the community. Those of us who have already given this past week electronically or with checks sent in, I want to thank you. And we know that that which you contribute circulates. What you receive is what also in giving is a circulation, and you receive also. So we just lift this up as representative of that which you've given us, and we raise our hands and we say, divine love as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. We also appreciate our families and children as they continue to navigate their transformation process through the education system and the extra work the parents have done this year. We just honor you and we lift up our hands to you and say, we love you, we care about you, and we're here for you. And finally, our community affirmation. I will say, do join us for Zoom. I've sent you a link text-wise and email that you can follow to having microphone problems here. Usually we don't have the microphone. So to follow, to join us on Zoom, we're going to talk about growing up. What was your Passover or Palm Sunday like, to kind of get a sense of your family life and how that worked. And then will you repeat after me the community affirmation? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. I am led by Spirit. I am guided by wisdom. I am protected by love. I am here to be a blessing. I am so grateful. And so it is.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now.
So as we go forward, we allow ourselves to reveal the truth and be committed to that truth as we transform and emerge stronger, brighter, and wiser. Many blessings.